Good day and welcome to Caribbean House Talk. On Caribbean House Talk, we always aim to bring you the issues from funny to curious to tearfully serious. And today's Caribbean House Talk, we have quite a bit of stuff coming up in our spicy dish and our day help team, and so we hope to really be able to entertain you for the next hour or so. Now, you might say, well, what makes Caribbean House Talk different than other talk shows? I think one of the things that make us different is that we are everyday people. We all have families. We have everyday jobs. I live in the suburbs like the average American. And we talk about the issues that are affecting everyday lives, that people talk about in their households. And we're not celebrities. So people identify with us because we have the same kind of issues and concerns and the same conversation. You know, we're not somebody out in Hollywood who's making millions of dollars. So I think in that regard, we are quite different than the average talk show. And so today, again, we're going to be entertaining you with some issues. We're going to start off, as we always do, with our spicy dish segment, where we have our spicy dish and we have our spicy topics, and we're going to have everyone on the couch take a spicy dish item out, and we're going to discuss it. And so, without further ado, on spicy dish, we are going to have Miss Caroline Davis pick out something.
Okay. All right.
What say you?
Can relationships survive when the woman earns more than the man?
I'm going to leave my opinion for last. So,
Okay.
Miss Caroline, let's...
Oh, you want it from me? You know, I don't know. It depends on how strong the man is. You know, you have a lot of men who can't handle it. They start out saying, "I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it," and then they get a little jealous. You know, when you have more money or you have to work longer hours or things like that. One thing I do think that women shouldn't, if you do earn more, don't push it up in their face.
Right.
You know, because then they feel a little bit insecure. They're insecure as it is, most men. But I think if you're a real man, you can handle it. You know that your relationship is working. You're doing this for the both of you.
Right.
You know, just like with a man. If he's earning more, we women don't have a problem with it.
Because society allows us to accept that. Society accepts that a woman would most likely earn less than a man. We still have men earning more than the average woman, but not necessarily in our community, in the black community. A lot of times we are let in the door a little bit more, or allowed to move into certain positions. And there are all sorts of theories as to why that is the case. But we are in our communities, men are often not making as much, and they're hardworking men, and they're good men, but they're just not given the opportunities sometimes that we're given. So, what about you, Amalfi? Do you think a relationship can survive when the woman is the larger wage earner?
I feel that it can, depending, like Caroline said, on how strong the relationship is, the foundation of the relationship. But what I find is that when the woman earns more, the guy is not at his masculine level. He doesn't
feel as masculine?
He doesn't feel as masculine. He may take a back seat on decisions because you're earning more, and he's not masculine. I don't like the idea of, now that I have been divorced for 3 years, the main thing that I'm looking for is for a man to feel at his best, to feel masculine, to feel like he can take care of me.
So do you think, like Caroline said, sometimes it depends on how we as the women who are the larger wage earners, because we're women who earn decent incomes, right? So do you think that part of it could be the way we handle it, or maybe, let me put it another way, maybe we can assist in how we go about certain things, like not training in their face, not leaving them out of decisions because they make less, right?
Yeah, and also the when you come home, you have to take that hat off, and often we don't because we are so independent. We are leaders in our jobs, and then when we come home, we want to continue that, and that really affects their self-esteem. And it's not. I am an old-fashioned girl. I want to come home and see a masculine man there. and but also I want him to be emotionally available to support me. But I am one of the main things that I'm working on myself is letting go of my independence. I think I'm too independent, and that affects the relationship. And being independent.
But is it because you're independent, or is it because the man is insecure, and so that is where we probably have to focus the attention?
No, I think it's that I'm too
You're
independent.
too independent.
I have been independent for so many years, and when I come home, I just want to run the show, and that's not the way it should be. It should be a balanced
Because I
relationship.
still like a man to open the door for me.
I love that. I love
You know,
that.
I
love
still
that.
like a man to flirt with me.
Yes.
I don't feel like I have to be so strong that I can't have somebody open the door for me. I mean, I see women sometimes, they're so independent, and they're mannish in their attitude, and yeah, that's not attractive in my opinion. That's just my opinion, and it's not. I don't find that. I just find that we need to not lose our flirt, not feel like we have to be the strong one. You could be strong, but you don't have to kind of overshadow your partner. So I said I was going to leave my opinion for last. No, Miss Weiss, Miss Irma Weiss, what is your opinion? Can a man be secure if the woman is the larger wage earner?
I think so. Yeah. I think that you should know who you are and who you
They
what you're
should,
about.
but do you think that usually is the way it works? Because
Usually-
you should, but I'm not seeing that a lot.
It's
Take it
not
from
out-
somebody
it's
who
really
knows.
not out there a lot,
Mhm.
but it is out there. There's some men who makes little less than their wives, and they are very secure in their spot because they know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And for them, it's not about the money.
Mm-hmm.
It's about being the man in the family
Mm-hmm.
and taking up your responsibility, taking up your role, and work it.
Mm-hmm.
And money shouldn't, I don't think, as a woman, well, I don't make as much as my husband does. But I don't think, as a woman, that you should let your dollars overshadow your relationship or your husband's responsibilities to his family. So,
Okay,
for me, it will work.
it will work.
Yes.
Well, it could work, but
could
in
work.
many cases it does
can
not.
work.
It
a
can
lot
work.
of times
Mhm.
it's very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not even so much the. I understand Amalfi said being too independent, that can happen, but I think the man has to be much
Secure.
more secure.
Secure.
Right, because
Because
I don't
it's
have to
their
make myself not
insecurity
independent.
That can cause more of the problem.
Right.
Than the money itself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right. So,
But how
once
how
you
do
know-
they become insecure? Is it something that is within them, or something that we,
Girl.
because of our behavior?
It could be a
It
combination.
could be both, but I think a lot of times, I think it's the male ego, it's the pressure
Totally.
of
Society.
everyone else, society, their friends,
Friends.
the people they deal
Friends is a
with,
big
like,
distraction.
yo, man, your woman makes more than you. What's up with that?
And
Or
that is
you
not
can't
something
take care of your
friends should know.
household,
Right.
friends shouldn't be knowing all that shit.
Well, here's my piece
No,
on this.
you're right.
I think it is possible to work. I think often it does not work because of societal pressures. Sometimes it is the way that the woman handles the situation by lauding her high income over that man and leaving him out of decision making. So it can work, but here's how it can work. If you have a male, regardless of male or female, you're working and somebody's making more than the other. It doesn't matter. Come to understanding about the percentage. Each person should be able to put monies together to pay the bills, save something, and have something for spending. So come to a place where what is fair? What is a fair percentage of your income that should go towards the bills for the household, so that that man could feel like he is contributing. And I would have some money in my pocket, and I could put something aside that has nothing to do with a joint account. I think when you have that balance, I think it can work. But when you have society that says the man should be the main wage earner, and in our society, many of us are the main wage earners or the people who are earning more, that now puts some pressure on him. Now, if we are the type who, we start making decisions, leaving him out, not feeling like, we treat him with equality, as an equal person, an equal partner, then that could add to it. But it can work. It's just very difficult because we're not yet at a place where we see males being comfortable with that. And I think it's just something that needs some conversation on, especially for our community.
Well, yes, I agree with that. I totally agree with that. But too, I am thinking when you're dating, you have to have all these kind of thoughts going through your head. Suppose you now come from a high paying job to a job paying you like nothing, almost nothing to what you were making. Why would you fell in love with this man who was making a lot more money at that time? What changed? Why should money be an issue to make the relationship go sour?
Let me just say this: marriage is not dating.
I understand that.
And oftentimes in the relationship, the dating, what shows up is representative.
The dating is where you fall in love.
Yeah, because
Right.
you're in
It's
that.
not puffed up.
Right. It's not.
Why are we going to make that be an issue?
It's not why are we going to. I'm trying to tell you, there's a problem out there with this. Whether or not we should.
I'm generally speaking.
Right, but we
You know,
shouldn't. It shouldn't be. Well, here's the thing. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. So we have to try to look at, at can it
You're
work?
right. You're right.
You have a
You're
wonderful marriage. You have a
You're
wonderful
right.
marriage. You guys are not facing this situation.
I
You get what I'm
understand
saying?
that.
So it's
Yeah.
hard for you to
So I
understand.
have to pull myself out of that.
Not pull
circle
yourself out, but
to understand.
but maybe from understanding what makes yours work, me and this
learn.
one who are dating, that we would learn a little bit more, because in both cases, my first marriage, he was the main wage earner because I was in school, and then I became after school. I remember one of his brothers saying to him, "Oh, you're crazy. I'm not gonna let no woman get more education than me," because he wasn't a formally educated person, but a hardworking man. And once I started making the bigger income, it was a problem.
That's
And-
insecurity right there. That's
Exactly.
That's a seed that was planted in
Exactly.
his thoughts.
And we were young. And now, fairness to him, we just got married at like a 21, run off and got married at City Hall. We were, kids, we were young. So we didn't have that type of maturity. And so it's a difficult thing. So now with the other marriage, we were older folks. But there still were issues in terms of, I'm the main breadwinner because he's moving here from another country, and I'm here already established, own a home and, have a decent job and things like that. And it's not an easy thing, and that doesn't make them bad people. It's a hard thing because society is saying, you should be the man. But then how much of a man can you be when she's making that big money? So yeah, a lot of it I think have to do with what you said in the sense that sometimes it's how whether we realize it or not, it's probably the way we're approaching it. Like key thing again, making decisions, going out and I could buy a nice car, just go buy the nice car. You don't sit and say, can we afford this? Should I do this? Here's what I want to do. Make them feel like a part of it. But a lot of it also has to do with with the security inside of the person and the attitude sometimes, because you can't call yourself a man when you live in a house and you're not supporting or contributing to that household. And you see a lot of men out there that are doing that. And I tell my son, I have a son, my little Jojo, he is the cutest little thing. And of course girls find him fine. But I tell him that cute little face is going to go but so far. With that little lady who is buying you this and want to do this, no woman respects a man for long when he is not contributing to that household and when he is mooching off of her. So there's that component, okay? There's that component.
And we become like a mother figure
Yeah,
rather than a
it
wife.
changes the way you start feeling like you're the person's mother as
The
opposed
mother,
to a
because
wife.
we're taking
And
care of everything.
I don't have sex with my kids. So if you're feeling like my son, that romantic feeling dies.
It does.
You understand? All right, so now on to our next topic. Mr. Malfi, pick the next spicy topic issue.
Okay, let's see what we have. Can men and women just be platonic friends if both find each other attractive?
Can men and women be platonic friends
Go ahead, Amalfi, tell us.
if each find the other attractive?
What do you think?
Yes, we can. I have been there, done that, and
And they never go to the other
and
realm?
never went to the next level. And we had a great friendship. We still have a great friendship. And I think that when you have the the main reason why you started hanging out together is because you like each other. And if you don't go to the next level, which is sex, you can maintain the friendship. Will you feel something?
But that's the thing. Prolonged period of time. You
Prolonged
find him
period,
attractive. I'm
yes.
not saying you want to get in his pants or you want to get in your underwear. I'm saying you find each other attractive. You don't look at him and say, he's nice, but that's not my type. She's okay, but that's not my type. She's too heavy, she's too this, she's too that. You look at each other and each find each other at least attractive. Can you, for a prolonged period of time, just be platonic
What
friends
is prolonged?
without somebody getting in the other's underwear?
Yes, you can, because I have done it. You can be friends.
Once? You done it just once?
I have done
Is that
it
the
once.
exception to the rule?
I
Have
don't
you
know
seen
that-
it happen a lot?
I don't think it happens a lot,
Mhm.
but I think we both have a lot of self-control, and we're still friends, and nothing has happened.
Okay.
So I think yes,
Did
you
he
can.
want it to happen and you just said no? We're not
Correct.
going there?
Yes.
Okay,
That's
that's
a
the
whole
point.
different
Yes.
story.
That's the
Uh-huh.
point.
Okay,
Yes.
because typically it starts out with, you
Mhm.
know, a man approaches a woman. They don't approach women to be friends.
Mm-hmm.
That does not happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they approach them because they're attracted. They like you. They like your look. They want something from you, and it's how much you give back in your message that says how you can take it further. Okay,
Yes,
I don't
that's-
know.
that-
I
that's
don't
true.
know many women who would be like, "Oh yeah, that's gonna be my hangout buddy."
Right. As a man.
without something, you know, him
Even if
thinking.
they're not attracted, Caroline.
I said if they find each other attractive.
No, but Caroline
If
said
I
that,
see a 300-pound woman, 300-pound man, right? And if I see a 350-pound man, okay, I'm trying to find something severe here. Not just he's plump, you know, full-figured, whatever. But you find somebody who's like, I'm trying to find. I'm a full-figured girl, honey, but doesn't mean I like somebody 400 pounds or 350 pounds, right? So let's say I see a guy and he's a nice guy. I could be friends with him, but I'm not necessarily going to date him. Somebody may look at me and say, oh, she's a nice girl, but I like my lady slimmer and whatever. Then, okay, we're not attractive like that to each other. But someone where we find each other attractive, like I say, oh, he's a cute guy, but she's a cute girl, and we're hanging out all the time, and tell me that nobody wants to be each other's, no.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think?
I think it can work.
Mhm.
I think it can work, and it can genuinely work, because two people, even though you're friends, there's that boundary you just don't cross. Everybody knows that. You make that clear up front. You know that's the fact, and it works. It worked for me. I know. I have.
So you have
friends.
male friends?
Oh yeah.
But,
Most of my
you're not.
friends are
But you're
male
not as a
friends.
married
You're not-
woman. You're not hanging out
hanging
with
out
them.
with them.
No, that's
Yes,
no,
I was
no.
I was hanging out with this person a lot,
No.
and we
I-
share a lot
Well,
of
in the
things.
first case, I think you two are a little different. You're a married woman. I wouldn't expect you to be hanging out with any men. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
No.
You're happily married with
Right.
ladies.
No, but I don't.
But here's the thing. Okay. Can it happen? Snow can fall in the middle of June. But
that's it.
I really think it's virtually impossible for a male and female to be just platonic friends, where they find each other attractive, they're not related, and they continually hang with each other before somebody want to get in somebody's underwear.
I don't hang out like that, so I
Yeah,
would
You
know.
know, it probably
I-
started out with where somebody wanted to get with somebody, and then they said, let's be friends. You
And
know
they
what I
realize it's
mean?
not
And they
doable.
realize
Yeah.
it's not, it's
Because
not
Right.
I don't, as I said, I'm not saying there aren't any. I don't know how many men there are who will just go and hang around a woman and say, "Oh, she looks cool. That's gonna be my buddy." Okay.
Well, it can happen. Let's say the
doesn't
man is
usually
let's say the
start
man
like
is
that.
not heterosexual. That, but if you have two, I should have brought in that component. If you have a heterosexual male, and a heterosexual female who are both find each other at least somewhat attractive, and you just want to just hang out, no,
It doesn't.
no, it doesn't
yeah,
happen.
it's
And I see the
rare
younger
when
generation
it
making
happens.
that mistake all the time, thinking, "Oh yeah, we're just friends."
Friends.
And I said, "No, girl, he wants to get in your underwear."
Usually
Okay, he
that's
may
the
know his
case.
place enough to know, oh, she don't think of me that way, so let me leave it alone.
Very-
He might be cautious and say, I don't want to ruin our friendship. But somewhere in the back of his mind, he wants to sleep with you, girl. Don't kid yourself. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I
It's
agree.
possible, but it's highly unlikely.
You know, my husband used to say, you have to be careful with men. You know, yeah, it'll seem like, oh yeah, we friends, we buddies. But if you open that door and let him think he can get a piece, friendship goes out the door. He's going to hop right on it, okay? Whereas with your friends, we ain't interested in sleeping with you, okay? But a man is going to jump on a female if you open the door for them to get in.
If I want to hang out with a guy who I just want to be friends and hang with, I'll hang out with someone who's gay. I don't know if that makes sense to you.
It doesn't have to
Because
be to
he
that
is-
extent.
No.
Here's
Here's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I'm saying. If I want to have a guy where I say, listen, you want to go hang out such and such, you want to go do this and that, let's go eat, let's go shopping, let's do whatever, and not want him to ever cross that part with me, I'll hang out with somebody who's gay, right? Right?
You know you're safe.
Because I'm safe.
Because you're safe. Oh,
Right.
okay.
I could hang out with guys occasionally if I'm not interested in them in that way, but the minute I see that I am finding you attractive and I could tell you finding me attractive, your eyes lingering a little bit more, no. I'm not kidding myself. Unless I wanted to go there. Now, there are times when I wanted to go there. You got me?
Yes.
Like, I wanted to go there, so I don't mind. You know, I could tell he liked me, I like him. But if you are just wanting this person to be a friend that is just platonic and you want to hang all the time with him, I think you need to stop kidding yourself thinking that he just wanted to be friends with you.
You're right.
That's my opinion. And I think if people just know that, it would save us a lot of time from a lot of issues. You know.
Yes,
because
and pretending that you have a relationship with this person where you don't, or hoping that it's going to develop into something. Because at one point, I thought about it. I said I was already making plans, and I will stop myself and said, Amalfi, this is truly a friendship.
Right, that could happen too.
And
That could
you know,
happen.
she said, I was making plans. You were making plans in a more romantic kind of way.
I was.
And that happens. Men will start to think of you honestly, sexually. Women will start to think the same way somewhat, but we're very emotional creatures. A man pays attention, our heads start, wow.
Oh, man.
Oh man, a married type. He
Yeah.
So
He
sweet.
called me for my birthday.
come on,
he got,
you know?
he did. What I had
It's
to
hard
say.
for
Then
men and
remember
women
all
to
the
be
dates.
friends.
Yes.
like
You
that.
remember every
Every
day,
everything.
And as soon as
He-
something
And we
happens,
fall.
you forget everything.
That's why I told you guys the representative shows up in dating. Dating and marriage are not two different things.
Totally different.
And sometimes with us women too, and I'll be totally honest with this, we're expecting our husbands to treat us like when he was dating us. Be
Which he
realistic.
should.
No,
Why?
you are kidding yourself. A marriage is not dating.
A marriage.
You're
could be-
sleeping in the same bed every day. You're now living in the same house, could see each other's good and bad. You're not going to treat your wife as when you were dating her, but you could make little
You
date
can
time
make-
for her.
yes, you
But
can make
it's not
dates, you
dating.
can
Be
make-
realistic. It's not dating.
You can listen to the person. You can love them the same way, pay attention, respect their opinions. That's where we lose it, where we think, oh, I already have him or her, let it go.
No, but there's a big space between that and the other place where people expect, you know, where people are totally ignoring each other. There's a middle ground where you make time for each other. You still treat each other with gentleness and respect and all of that, but you are not dating your wife when you marry her. You know, live together. This is real
And you
life.
have
This is
kids
reality.
and other
And
things
there are
coming.
kids, and there's a house to clean and go to work, and he leave his
Lunch
socks
and
on the
dinner.
floor. Get real, you know. Again, this is Caribbean
And
House
that's why-
Talk.
that's
We
why
get
you
real
do-
with the issues here. We're not trying to tell people what they want to hear.
That's where the
You
real
know?
person comes out.
Right.
When, you know, and I'm like, Lord, what did I get myself into here with this man? You know? You weren't like this. You know, come up with stuff like, you weren't like this. I never knew you were like this kind of person.
But
I never
we
knew you
knew
would
it.
do that. And
I think we
you
know.
but when you're dating, you don't know these things.
You don't know.
You don't know these things until you
No,
guys
no.
live together. Then you see the real person and you be like,
Okay, we're going to a whole
"Lord
other
have
topic.
mercy."
So now I'm going to have Miss Alma pick out her other items
Let
from
me
Spicy
dig to the
Dish.
deep and bottom of this thing and get the real spicy one. Okay,
Oh,
a lot of
Lord.
pepper. Let me see what this is.
Tell our
Yeah.
audience what's
Oh,
next.
God.
What say you, Miss Weiss?
Okay, I think you're gonna have fun with this one.
Do I need to get you a fan?
This
Use this to fan.
this thing is like, woo! This is really like Scotch
Fire.
bonnet right here.
Oh, gosh.
Does size matter in a relationship?
Okay, and by size, we're going to be diplomatic and decent here because
And looking
if
at
you
so
if you
much
have
in there,
parents that have small children, we're not going to be, even though we're not planning to be, really vulgar in any way. It might be a good time for those children to leave the room, because when we say size, we don't mean how tall you are. We're talking size. Okay, so does size matter in a relationship? I'm going to start with Caroline.
Don't
And I'm going to
stop
give my
with me.
opinion last.
I don't even have an opinion.
Okay,
So
let me start with Auburn. The
Let's
size
move it
matter,
on.
and I don't
Move it
want a
on.
wishy-washy answer. I want a real answer. Does size
That's
matter?
like
Yes, size matters.
go,
Mhm.
go.
Definitely matters. Size is like
Is it a
the
deal
glue.
breaker?
It's like the glue in the relationship. That's what holds you together. That's
Oh my God,
yes.
really?
Yes, it is.
Wow.
Yes.
So that's a deal breaker for you. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
I'm happy this the size matter.
Shouldn't be how
Does
you're
the
working.
size matter?
Sometimes you have the size and can't walk together.
That's true.
Yeah.
You
That's
know?
right. That's what I'm
Uh-huh.
saying. It should be
Uh-huh.
how you're working, not so much,
Mhm.
the size. If you
Yeah.
know what to do with it, then you
If
know
you
what
have
to do
it
with
and
it.
don't know what to do with it, then it's like no use.
What about your Mappy? The size matter.
It doesn't.
Size matters?
No. It's
No?
how no. It's
Oh my
how
God!
you
If
use
you
it.
get
No, there's small and there's undersized.
Yes. I've never experienced
We
undersized.
didn't
but
see those, Trish. We're
Yeah.
not like you.
Yeah.
We haven't seen
we haven't. I
undersized.
haven't experienced, but
Okay.
no, I don't think it is how he works it. It's how he makes me feel, how he touches. There's other factors that come into place when you are.
Keep it clean now.
I'm not saying anything. It's how he does it. No.
Oh, he does it.
Mm-hmm.
So Miss Caroline Davis.
Go ahead. You next.
No, I'm trying to. You still didn't say anything. She said.
I don't know what to
she
say.
thought I said nothing. The
No, I
size
don't know what
matter.
to say.
Oh,
I
you're
just said
married.
to
Listen,
me,
we know that
I
you
am
guys.
married.
Let me say
I
this.
don't-
Let me say this.
gonna-
Let me say
I
this.
can't
Let-
comment on it
No,
'cause I don't
let me
know.
say this. Let me say
You
this.
don't have to know
Let me
common
say this.
sense.
Let me say this. You're two happily married women. We're not telling you to talk anything about your husbands here. That's not what we're saying.
No,
We're
I'm
saying
not. I'm
you
not.
talk to your girlfriends. You're friends with me. I'm single. And you know me. I'm not too shy about stuff.
Yes,
You know. You have girlfriends. You as a woman, you know certain things. Believe it or not, some things are not what I experience, but just from knowing. Reading, not just reading, watching TV, talking to my friends and so forth. I have an experience that I'll tell you guys about later
I
that was
don't hear
hilarious.
a lot of people.
Do you think it should matter? Let me put it this way.
I
Do you
don't
think
care.
it should matter?
I think
It's a general
I think
question.
you need to know how to work it. Okay.
I agree.
I can't say if it's really itty
Undersized.
bitty, undersized, whatever.
Teeny tiny.
Okay.
That probably ain't gonna do nothing for you.
Right.
But I'm saying you probably have to know. It's more important on how they work it.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying?
All right. So my opinion.
Too big, then it's painful and it's not gonna be so enjoyable to you.
Mhm.
All right. Too small, you may not feel anything.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I say it's how you work it.
All right. So my opinion. I will have the last word.
There it is.
Okay. I don't
Tell
think,
them.
Okay, let me say this. I don't think that size should be a deal breaker. I think the mistake that many guys who are small or even undersized make is trying to push. You see, when you are teeny tiny, as opposed to a bazooka, you can't push for that so fast. You gotta get her head. You gotta get in her head, get attached to her emotionally. Rub the shoulders, rub the feet, cook dinner for her. Talk to her every night.
Men,
Say,
you hear that?
listen, let's have a 90-day thing when we do nothing more than maybe kiss and cuddle and chat and so forth.
Yes.
When she's attached to you emotionally, I guarantee you that size will not matter as long as you know what are the things to do that she finds pleasure in.
Yeah.
However, if you're teeny tiny and you're trying to rush to that and she hasn't yet connected with you emotionally, I'm being serious.
It'll be
That
a
will
turn
make
off.
a difference. It's a turn off because she hasn't connected with you emotionally.
That's true.
Now, I had an experience.
Yes.
I had a friend of mine.
They always say a
Always say
friend,
a
right?
friend.
Okay.
And we know you
It's
take
a
it.
friend.
No, but
Okay,
this
go
one was truly a friend. And she told me a story that I felt sorry for the guy. I really did. But he bought it on himself. He bought it on himself. So basically, she was dating this guy, and he would be on the phone trying to turn her on and telling her. He basically was acting like he got a bazooka, and what he was gonna do with this bazooka. Okay, so she got there, and they get ready to, and it's teeny tiny. Now
She was very
she
disappointed.
humiliated him.
Oh,
And I
no.
felt for him. I felt
no.
that he shouldn't have done that because stay away from that kind of topic. Don't promote yourself to have something that you don't have. Because again, women connect emotionally. I don't care what size you are. If they connect with you emotionally, you're a nice enough guy and you have other ways to make up for that, it's not going to matter at that point. But she humiliated that guy. I mean, she was like, you better get your damn clothes back on. This is disgusting. And I felt like this poor guy might be somebody that might just mess other women up in the future because of how he was treated. That's how terrible that was. Again, I think he bought some of it on himself in that you don't promote yourself to have. But maybe she made it known up front that she wants bazookas. But why set yourself
do
up?
prefer bazookas.
You know. So yes, size might matter, but I think if you walk it the right way, you can get to the point where it's not the ultimate thing. If you, again, we're emotional creatures. Rub my feet, kiss on my toes. Oh shit!
Okay. Stop.
Okay.
Just kidding.
Okay,
Firewood stay.
keep it going.
Stop
Keep
it.
it going.
Okay, let's keep it going.
yeah.
All right, let's take a break.
Let's take
When
a
we
break.
come back to
We need a
Caribbean
break.
House Talk, we're going to be talking about parents who are remarrying and what does that mean for their children's inheritance. We're going to talk about that when we get back. I'm Trish.
I'm a mountain.
I'm Irma.
And I'm Caroline.
And we are the Caribbean House Talk. Welcome back to Caribbean House Talk. Before the break, I promised that when we got back from the break, that we would be talking about guarding our kids' inheritance. So this is the Dear Help Team portion of Caribbean House Talk. Dear Help Team, does parents have a right to guard their children's inheritance when remarrying, or should their kids not be a part of their decision making when it's time to remarry? In other words, mom or dad have some assets, they're divorced, and kids are grown and are not, and now they're getting ready to remarry. Should they take into consideration, I have my children, and I am now putting another person there who's going to have more rights than my children, regardless to what kind of will I have. Should they think like that? If, for instance, you can't disinherit your spouse totally. You have pensionable stuff, you can't just cut them out of it. And now you've worked hard, and you have
can
your
leave
kids.
him 1%.
But he would have to agree to that. He would have to agree because there's, I think, like a 33% or something like that
Okay.
that they have to get. So should parents, when they're like me, who I'm divorced, I have children, I ain't planning to get married again. But if I did, should I think about my children and what that does to their inheritance, or should I say, I've raised my children, they're grown, they're not a part of this decision. Let them go get their own, and I can marry and do whatever I want. I'll start with you, Caroline.
I think I'm now a little bit confused. Should they be considered when you're marrying somebody else?
Should you? No.
Or should you think about?
Should
let
you
me
think about them?
their
Let me protect my
interests?
children's interest in my inheritance.
I agree. I think they should. You should consider them. First of all, now you're talking about this man is not the children's father.
Right.
Okay? And so, in most cases, naturally, a husband is going to get whatever the wife has.
Mhm.
Equally
At
or
least a part of it.
33%
Yeah, he
or
can't get
whatever
all, but he can
that
get a
you
part.
said, right?
Mhm.
So, I think you want to protect your kids.
Mhm.
All right? You don't know how long that marriage is going to last. That's the way I look at it. Sorry.
Oh, what's a little Mary
I'm
Sue?
going to protect my children first. And then later on down the road, you can set up your will, whatever. Later on down the road, you can always change those things, but you want to protect your children and make sure your children are set and everything is fine with them. The man shouldn't be marrying you for everything you have anyway.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? But of course, at some point, when that relationship is working well, you're going to rethink this and say, well, I don't want to leave my husband with nothing either.
Of course.
You know, so yeah, I think you should.
What about you,
consider-
Amalfi?
I
What do you
will.
think?
This is what I will do. I will give the money to my children if I have 2 or 3 children. So that will be while I'm alive. I will give the money that I already have.
But you don't know how long you'll live, so why
No.
would you do that?
No, I will give them a portion with some rights for me to continue to manage the funds for them. And then anything that a new person brings, we will build together and we will start from there.
You see, you're still a young woman, so you're thinking in a different way. You got an old mama bear like me. Well, I'm not gonna tell you my age, but
You're not much older than her, Trish.
I could almost be a young mother to her. But okay, so your thing is that what you two work on together, you'll
We will
see
work
that as
it
the
together.
relationship.
We
But
will
then what
say-
you had before, that you'll guard it and make sure your children are not being
Yeah, it will be my
disenfranchised.
children and my mother. I will definitely give it
Right.
to them.
What about you,
I agree to Malfi. The first marriage, those children are totally have total rights to whatever assets or whatever you have in that first marriage. I would make a will. And every family should have a living will, regardless.
Exactly.
And everything should be insurance, everything should be
Everything
covered
black and
under
white.
that will, in that will. And whatever happens to me after the divorce and everything, my children are okay. Now,
Right.
that husband of mine, that second husband of mine, should not be inheriting anything that comes from my first marriage with my first husband.
I agree.
No way. And those children are products of that first marriage, which they are the true inheriting group
Parties.
parties of that assets that my first husband and I accumulated. That's their inheritance. Mojo have nothing to do with that. Whatever we make
Together.
between us together on that second marriage shares up equally, half. My half goes to my children. It's up to me to do what I want to do with my half. You get your half. The second half, which is mine, goes to my children, and that should be in a will as well. And that will should not be contested after my death. Suppose I go now with everything into the second marriage, leave my children out. He knows that. He sees that. He knows my worth and my value.
You get a unconscious, goes to the hospital. He's telling him pull the
Exactly.
plug fast, and then
Suppose
little
he's a doctor,
little
give
Mary.
me some kind of medication or something that nobody could
You don't have to be a doctor. Don't go
Miss-
crazy though. Don't go
Suppose-
crazy.
Suppose,
But all he has to
suppose.
do is when
Things
when
happen.
you are sitting in a respirator, pull the plug because he just
Yeah.
wants to get that money.
Yeah,
But
then your children
Okay,
are
we
totally
don't have
I'm
to
being funny.
You're not doing
I'm
that.
being halfway funny about
You're
that.
not doing that.
It's a serious topic, but let me get my way in on
But
this.
I think
I do think you have to guard your children.
you do.
Yeah.
You do.
I think that when you have children from a previous relationship and you're getting, first of all, you have to ask yourself, if a man is coming to you and he has nothing to bring to the table at my age, or even any of you age, what is the point of being with him? So
No
if
sense
we have
whatsoever.
something, I'm going to put that for my children, and then we can build together. And that's for us. I think it's fair that when I die, whatever we accumulate together, that's for him.
Yeah.
Because he helped me to get this. I may leave,
No, you
for
have
instance,
to-
if I have a house that we both bought, I shouldn't be leaving that for him and my children because that wouldn't be fair.
Oh,
If we
yeah.
have, because if we had a house that I bought that we bought together and he died before me, I wouldn't like that his children come in and push me out. So I think anything you accumulate together, that's different. But what I had before, I'm not messing with my kids' inheritance. I am not messing with
would love
my
for him.
children's inheritance. And I
Exactly.
think people need to know a couple of things. You need to get a will, but that's not going to protect your children but
Tell
so much.
them.
You need to get a will because your spouse, you're still going to be entitled to things like your pension. They're going to be entitled to, I believe, I stand corrected, but I believe about 33%, unless they sign it away to you. You must bear in mind that you marry one man, you divorce another. Take it from me. Same man you marry is not the same man you're going to divorce. So,
Exactly.
when you're making decisions, you have to hear that in mind. And it goes for women too. It really, really goes for women too. So now, you must get the will. You should get a prenuptial agreement if you're someone with some assets. I don't care if you're male or female. Get a prenuptial. Because again, who you marry is not who you're divorcing. And I'm sorry, honey, but no little Mary Sue, Mary Martha Jane, their cute little face and figure is not coming up in my house that I work hard for with the man I marry who came in and hang up his hat while my children are disinherited. So use your common sense. That man, once you're not a young couple, should be bringing some assets to the table. Young people, you are starting or trying to find your way. When you reach a certain age, you should have something, and a man should be expecting a woman. And we're beating up on men a bit here, but we shouldn't really, because at least it sounds like we're beating up on men. Because often I do see where women are being taken advantage of, but it happens on the other side.
Yes,
So whatever you're male, you're female, and you see that you're going into a relationship, ask yourself, what is this person bringing? Okay, maybe you're so in love you don't mind that they can't bring anything, but don't be a fool. Protect yourself. Have a prenuptial. Get a will. And make sure that you guard whatever you had in that marriage for those children before you tie that knot.
Exactly.
Ooh, there's another topic that we're going to definitely have to discuss.
We have
and
to,
that is
yes.
about the will thing, because people of color have a tendency not to do those things.
Look at Prince.
So
Yeah.
I don't
Multi-millionaires,
understand that one.
and he
that
have
didn't
no
make
will.
any kind of sense to me, but
But there's no spouse
It's
involved, and
another
I guess
topic.
maybe he don't have any kids, so maybe
But
he just didn't feel.
Making a will is very important. I can't stress it enough.
It's very important. I redo my will every couple of years. And I'll tell you guys a little thing about a will. There is a way you could set up a will to prevent your children, or at least deter them. Not totally prevent, but deter them from fighting each other. There's a clause you can put in your will that says, if you're my two children, and you take each other to courts to go against my wishes, if you lose, everything you have is forfeited to you. Do you know of anybody who want to risk that? Especially if those assets are significant.
That's right.
So I always put that in my will. I know what I want. I'm going to tell my children what is mine, what I want. And if you want to go fight after I die, you run a risk of losing what I
Losing
left you.
everything.
That's it.
Exactly.
But yes, I definitely will guard my children's inheritance, and I think everybody should, whether you're male or female, you're remarrying, don't be foolish. Be in love, but don't be foolish.
And make a will.
And make a
It's
will.
important.
And get the prenuptial.
Yes.
Okay? Next one, dear help team. Should black kids be allowed to play with strictly white dolls and hear mainly white fairy tales, or be surrounded with white images like white Jesus, etc.? Oma. You have boys. I know you have two sons.
I have
but
two boys, yes. But we have grown up with this doll thing as an issue in our... It really wasn't an issue because it's what we knew.
we didn't have it black dolls in our
We
days.
never had black dolls. Never ever. So we knew the white doll. But the funny thing is, I had a doll, but I never played with my doll because my mother never gave it to me. My mother never gave me the doll. We got it from England. My sister sent it to me. I have family there. And when the doll came, I saw the doll. The first Christmas,
A white doll?
I saw the doll, yeah. But the doll was bigger than me at the time. It was a big thing. And she took it. I had it for that day. And she took it that night and put it away. And that was the end of the doll. I don't know
But
what
my
happened to
point
it.
is,
I
though,
don't know
but
where it is.
that's not my
So
point.
I don't have
You don't have something
that
to reference.
experience
Mhm.
of...
But do you think that black
playing-
children
but I-
should be allowed to play with white dolls? I'm not saying they can't play with white dolls, but only or mainly with white dolls. Black children are children of color.
Well, no, and maybe. Because nowadays we have black dolls on the market now. But growing up, again, I'm going back
We
to
didn't
that.
have the option
We didn't
of
have the
black or white,
option.
it was a white
So
doll,
I
yeah.
would say for that, yes, because every little girl wanted a doll. But for now, I would say no. Because
What about
there
you,
are other
Malcolm?
dolls out there.
I would it's whatever the little girl likes.
Mm-hmm.
If she likes a white doll, I would let her play with a white doll. If she likes black or brown doll. She is whatever she feels connected to and happy. And if I see her happy, would I love her to see if she looks like me with curly hair, with a doll that looks curly and she's happy with that? That's okay also, because she's identifying with that doll and saying, look how beautiful she has, bigger hips, she has curly hair. It's, whatever makes her happy. That will make me happy.
What about you, Caroline?
Well, guess what? Because I have 2 girls, and I was the one who purchased the dolls. And I did have a big issue about buying white dolls. You know, I wanted my kids to identify with their own culture, with themselves, and to know, you know, black is beautiful. Especially, we came up in a time with, you know, the thing about the Bobo dolls and all that psychology that they did with kids, testing them to see, well, which doll does the black kid gravitate to? Which one does the white? Which one does she think is bad and good? So I was really adamant about giving my daughters black dolls. However, in their time, as they were growing up, it became a lot of multicultural dolls. So I started seeing more dolls that looked Spanish, because you really didn't have any. Okay, I started seeing Spanish dolls. They even had Asian looking dolls and white dolls. So then I started buying more of each. I bought different kinds of dolls so that they can see that this is a multicultural world.
Yeah.
But do I gravitate to black or brown dolls? Yes, I would. That's what I would buy.
Okay.
for
And
sure.
so me, what my last say is, my daughter, when she was growing up, my daughter had white dolls, but that would not be the predominant dolls that she had. So you are not going to give my black child just strictly white dolls. But you can give her a mixture of dolls. Like I had one lady who brought her these white dolls, and I said, you can bring her that white doll with a brown, a black doll, an Asian doll, but when you're bringing my black child just a white doll, is that how she's going to assess beauty? You know, so I had some problems with that because I didn't think that was just innocent. People don't necessarily mean it in a bad way. But think, if you're a little girl, don't you want something that kind of reflects you? And yes, you want other dolls so that it's not just strictly,
Right.
oh, the world is not all
The
black, the
world
world
is-
is not all
is
brown, it's not all
multicultural,
white.
yeah.
Right. So bring my child, my black child, some multicultural dolls.
Right.
And I personally, as a mother, didn't go out and buy her white dolls.
What about the kids who didn't have dolls at all? What about those little children back in the islands who used to take a bottle, put
Or grass,
something
grass,
in,
and use the
and
roots
tie-
as hair.
and tie up and make a doll? What do we say to those kids?
Well, they're not a part of
They're
this.
not a part of this.
They're not a part of this. Meaning,
Is
it's not a white doll. It's not a black doll. They're just playing with a grass, what we used to call grass babies,
They're
right?
using their imagination.
They're using their imagination, and actually, I think that's the most beautiful thing.
It
You
is.
know, we used to pull up some grass, the kind of grass that we have in the island. It's like becoming a big lump. You pull it up, and the root of it will make a doll out of it. Y'all remember that grass babies? And we'll braid it, and that would be our doll. So I don't think that is a part of this, because in those cases, the children actually create their own version of a doll. What I'm talking about, and I need for people to understand this, is not that there's anything wrong with a black child playing with a white doll. Me as a black mother will not go out and purchase all black dolls for my daughter. I mean, all white dolls for my daughter. She had brown dolls. She's had white dolls. She's had mostly black dolls. She's a black child. Okay? And sometimes people, I remember this, and it was a black woman who gave my child all these white dolls, and I said, I'll tell you what, I would accept that doll, but if you bring other dolls, I said, I don't let her play with just all white dolls. You can't bring a whole bunch of white dolls. I think it was about 3 dolls that she brought, different dolls and the clothing and stuff like that. It was cute and everything, but I felt that she needed to, like you said, multicultural.
Yeah.
Like a multicultural type of
Have
approach to
all.
it. You know, my child is a black child, and I don't want her to feel like if it's not white, it's not right. That's my problem, that if you just always have white images around black children, they're not going to know it, but it will mess with their self-esteem. The same thing with, fairy tales. There's nothing wrong with reading about Snow White, but that's not the only thing. I had books about India and different ethnicity and Africa, and read some of those stories, and the Nancy stories, and of course the Snow Whites. So I just think that those things are images that we need to be conscious of, and we need to be conscious of them. then there's the image of the white Jesus. Now, I'm not a religious buff. I'm not going to get into whether he was black or white. I just think he could be whatever color for whatever people. But I think if you start to go with the white doll, the white fairy tales, the white Jesus, then everything black start to look not so right. And that's what I'm saying. You must either represent those things for who you are or bring a multicultural approach. But you should not have the same thing. If you have a white child, you shouldn't be just giving her black dolls. You know, she can get a black doll.
That's so rare. I have to wonder how many white people give their children black dolls.
Exactly, and I'm not going to criticize them for that.
Maybe today you may see it might be happening a little more because people are more. We kind of intermingle more with each other. Mm-hmm. I know back when I was growing up, there were no white women giving their white children black dolls. I mean, come on. We did that. We gave white, but they didn't do the same. Mm-hmm. It wasn't reciprocated.
Well, we didn't have much of an option.
Yes.
And, you know, I was watching something, I don't remember what channel it was on. They were doing an experiment with a black child. This brought tears to my eyes.
Yeah.
This black child would pick out the white doll, and when you said, why didn't you pick the black doll? She would say, it was ugly. Now, you think that's accidental, that she's thinking like that?
No.
So that's what I'm saying as parents, we have to get conscious, not to teach our kids that everything has to be about just black, or just brown, or just white, but that you're living in a multicultural world and everybody's beautiful in their own way. And that's the most healthy approach that we can take. You know? I'm going to talk a little bit today we're going to talk about health and fitness, because as someone who struggles with, I have to say I'm pretty healthy with somebody my size, but no, that's not a healthy way to be. You know, I have a young son and want to be around with him for a while. And Amalfi, you have been one of those people that kind of, guide me along with my health, my weight issues. Like you would push me to go to the gym, to go walking, how I eat, make me aware of certain things, processed foods, not being good for you and things like that. So I wanted to touch on that a little bit because I think most people out here could kind of identify with having not eating the right food because we're rushing and going to work and coming home and picking up the kids and we just want to eat and then can't worry about how healthy. But you believe that there are little ways in which you can get it. So tell us a little bit give us some advice about what we can do as a fashion expert, what we can do in order to be a little bit more healthier.
You said fashion.
I'm sorry. Fashion would be your.
Let's talk about
health.
You're fashionably healthy, but what can we do in terms of being a little bit more healthy, eating a little bit more healthy, being more conscious
of what we're eating? I think that everything that you put in your mouth usually starts with the mindset that you have, with the mood that you have on that day, how you're feeling.
So I could eat anything I want as long as I'm in a good mood?
No, that's not what I mean. I mean that when you put things in your mouth that don't agree with what you think is healthy, is because of the way you're feeling. You're either stressed, you didn't prepare. So I think that the first step that you need to do is say, tomorrow I'm going to start. And really make a commitment to yourself and say, tomorrow I'm going to start a new life. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to feed my body with good things. But also you need to feed your mind. I think that's where, it comes from the top to the bottom. It's not the other way around. Mm-hmm. If you can spend 5 minutes before you go to sleep doing some type of meditation where you just relax your body, the next day you're going to be more relaxed and you're going to be able to deal with stress much better, and you're not gonna run to a fast food restaurant and pick up the item that you think is going to make you happy for the moment, but it's really harming your health. So that's the main thing, is making a decision saying, tomorrow I'm going to start a new life for myself. I'm going to make a change that is going to help me, it's going to help my family and my friends and everybody around me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, but that's sometimes easier said than done.
It is.
Like
It is.
sometimes for me, when I get started, whether it's walking or going to the gym, when I get started and I stick with it for like 9 days at least, it becomes a habit. But once I break it, that's when the problem, like staying.
So then what you need to think is, I did it once before, I can do it again. And don't let a lot of time go by, because then your body gets used to the new thing. Like you said, 9 days. It takes approximately 21 days to acquire a new habit. So if you go longer than that and you don't do anything, your body's like, okay, what I'm doing now? So you have to go back as soon as you can. And also you have to get into a routine where you're going to be able to sustain it. A lot of people,
That's
they
right.
want to do, let's say for example, they want to do the food and the fitness together. Some mothers, because they have so much to do, they're not able to do both of them. So start with one. Mainly, in my opinion, you should start with food. So if you could start changing one meal a day, that is very easy for you. Change that.
And I also heard when you eat also is important. Like some people, if they, well, not for some people, I heard that not eating after 7 p.m. at night, drinking lots of water, along with those other healthy eating habits, that goes a long way.
It
Those
may go a long
contribute,
way.
yeah.
I'm the one that if you divide your calories and you eating good food, it doesn't matter what time you eat it. Because if you eat a good salad with a small portion of protein, for example, before you go to sleep, but it's good food, quality food, that's not going to do anything to your system. If you eat a lot of starches or things that
Some
are going to
cookies and
change,
some,
some
yeah.
cookies
Bread.
or bread, that's going to probably interfere with your sleep, because your body's digesting all of that, all of that food.
So, I don't know if you want to share this, Malfi, but I mean, somebody will look at you and they'll say, okay, yeah, it's easy for you to say these things, and what do you know really about this? Have you been through anything that I mean, have you really been through any problems with weight or anything like that? I don't know if you want to share anything with your with the audience.
I can. I was 182 pounds.
Wow.
So I lost 62 pounds, and it took me approximately a year and a half. And what helped me was the improvement that I made every day. So don't expect to drop the 62 pounds in 2 or 3 months, because then it won't mean the same. To me, every time I drop a pound was a celebration, because I said I'm getting closer to my goal, closer to my goal. And then when you get to that goal, then you have something else. Now I lost the 62 pounds. Now my goal is to get more firm. So your goal changes.
Because a lot of times it's not so much that people lose the weight. I've lost a lot of weight and it comes back more than before. But you or someone, you were never obese from anything I can remember, but you were considerably heavier. But the thing with you is that you kept it off for how many years?
Quite a few years.
4 years. It has been 4 years. It has been 4 years. But I go back to how easy it is. You have to follow a plan that's going to be easy, because we are all busy. We all have kids. We have a 9-to-5 job. So we have to do something that is easy for us to follow. Otherwise, we won't do it.
Don't be unrealistic.
We are realistic,
with
yeah.
our goals.
Don't think, for example, don't plan to take a class at 6 p.m. when you know that you have to be home, let's say cooking dinner. That is not going to work. Maybe you can go walking during lunch at work. And it doesn't have to be something excessive. I always tell people it can be something natural, like walking, like you do your walking.
Yeah, during
and Caroline
lunchtime, yeah.
does the walking as well. And it works, but you have to do it every day.
Right.
The
Consistency.
body needs to move, and people will say, oh, Amalfi, you do too much exercise, because I work out 6 days a week. And I said, I eat 6 days a week, and the body needs to move. When the body moves, it breathes, and then your hormone changes. It's like a chemical reaction, and you feel better, so you're going to gravitate towards better food.
Well, what's the one thing that you told me? Because I was really good, and then I come this last year, I come to this period where I'm picking up weight. I kind of like it's a little harder now. So now I'm ready again, and a Muffy's gonna be on my back. Just
she would pester us.
Which is okay. But she made me put something more than a year ago up on my board at work. And out of all of that, there's the eating, there's the exercise, but there's one thing that she's always on my case about that I very rarely get, and it's so important. Could you just share that, please?
Yes, it's the sleeping. Sleeping is a major factor on losing weight because that's when your body restores itself. So when your body restores itself, the next day is able to work out better, is able to eat better. But if you don't do that, if you don't recharge, it's like a battery. You're not going to be well. You're not going to be doing well the next day. And that's why I mentioned if you can do 5 minutes of meditation, just deep breathing. You don't have to have anything fancy. Just sit on the floor on your bed and do that deep breathing, which I'm going to show as we one of the shows, how to do the deep breathing. That's going to relax your body and you're going to be able to go to sleep. And also all the noises or TVs in your bedroom, they affect your sleep a lot.
Well, one of the things I found too is that I was constantly lying in my bed and watching TV, and my body started to associate the bed with TV, and I had the worst case of insomnia. And I went and I bought a recliner. So I stay in the recliner and I watch TV. And when I start to feel sleepy, I get up and I go in my bed, and that really helped. So I think sometimes
turning off the TV.
Once I get up from that chair, I turn off the TV. So my body no longer, identify the bed with watching TV. The bed is for sleeping. When I get tired, I get up, I turn the TV off, and then I go to bed.
And also you use that window. When you get sleepy, the serotonin is kicking in. That's where you need to take advantage and go to sleep. Because if you let that window go, we know about it. Like we are sleepy,
like be a second
it doesn't
wind.
come back,
You're up
and
again.
then you're. And there's other things that we're gonna discuss where you can help yourself relax before going to sleep.
Okay, wonderful. Oh, she's going to keep us in good shape. I think there's hope for me. All right, so we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to be looking at some fashion by our dear Alma Weiss of Alma's Fashion Boutique. She has some very beautiful pieces here that we have been blessed with her necklaces and earrings and so forth. So when we get back, we'll talk about that. I'm Trish.
I'm Amalfi.
I'm Irma.
And I'm Caroline.
And we are the Caribbean House Talk. Welcome back to Caribbean House Talk. And with us today with her beautiful jewelry is our own Miss Alma Weiss from Alma's Fashion Design. And most of us in the studio are wearing Alma's fashion. Like this is a piece of her jewelry. She does clothing. You also do interior decorating,
Yes.
right? So like this I love this piece. You've been planning. Okay, wow, you're a busy lady. So you have quite a bit of just a little sampling of the jewelry that you usually do. So I want you to take the time and explain to us the different pieces. Let's start from these two pieces here. So this one, I love this. This caught my eyes right away. But I also love this. I like them all.
Yeah, I picked this little hobby up a long time ago when I was in high school. I love to look different. I always love to be different. And I started with those little seed beads that you can get back home back in the day. But as I get older and get more into it and fall in love with different stones and beads and stuff, I start exploring. Now this is really self-taught. I read books and I look at people's jewelry and other things and get inspired.
So you didn't go any place to learn to do this?
No. This I did on my own. but I did a lot of research and reading, and I'm always looking at what other people are wearing. And one of my biggest inspiration was Joan Rivers. Her jewelry was just out of this world. And this piece, this one, is what I made the first time I met Joan Rivers on TV.
Wow.
And actually looked at what she was wearing. But her stuff was green. She had a big one of these a big bead on the side, but it was all different shades of green, and I felt so much in love with it. I said, I gotta do that. And I created this piece, and I will not part with it because it means a lot to me. And these are the earrings right here that I made to go with it. These earrings. You can borrow it, but I would not sell that. I would not get rid of it.
This is your...
I've had this piece for over 10 years. That piece. So I hold on to that. That's my inspiration piece. That's the piece that really got me into being a little more over the top with what I do.
Okay. So
Okay.
what else do we have? Like this one, this caught my eyes.
I love this. I love this piece. I saw
It's bold.
it's I love to mix colors like that. I like to put the a bold color with a little less strong color and mix it. I saw one day in Macy's about a year ago a skirt with colors brown and blue, and I'm like, red could go with blue too. I mean, that's a big deal. So I created that piece. This is another piece that I really, really, really love.
That's more neutral.
I love this because the yellow is not that strong yellow, in your face yellow. So I love that piece. I created that one day. It was raining. I remember it was raining. And as I was sitting there doing it, the rain was coming through the window. And I did not change. I didn't close the window for some reason. I don't know that because I usually do. And I see like a little light in between, and then I went and I got the pendant and put it between
there. So this is like the sunshine.
That's
right
what
here.
got me.
Okay.
I usually when I design, I look for things around me to mesh with what I do, and that's what really motivates me. This one I did one night. I have in my where I do my jewelry. This piece, I had the light over the table in the den. And the bulb was dying. You know when the bulb dies, go before it dies. And I said, what is in my collection that I can relate to a dying bulb that's flashing dull light? You can't even use the light. And then I saw this and I said, that's it.
Yeah, because you got the little light and the little dull. Oh,
yeah. Right. So everything have a story. Honestly, everything have a story. This piece. I did this piece I have a hydrangea in the front of my house. A plant. A plant, hydrangea.
Hydrangeas?
We call it hydrangeas home. This reminds me of that. So I did that.
Okay.
This piece was like a vintage piece. I love vintage stuff. I do vintage clothing a lot. I love vintage clothing. And to me, this is vintage.
Nice.
And it has the matching
bracelet. Yeah.
Okay.
That bracelet I saw in a magazine, but some of the beads are coming out. I saw this in a magazine and I love it, and I did it like 50 times before I got it right. But I got it. There's no instructions, nothing. It's just sitting there. And I love it so much, and I said, I gotta do it. And I came up with that version until I got it the way it's supposed to be. That's the earrings that hang in here.
Oh, that's the earrings. Oh, yeah. I was wondering about that. Okay.
This to me is a rainbow. Okay. One evening it was raining early summertime. I just made this piece not too long, earlier in the year, earlier in the summer. And there was this rainbow. And I was there working, I was doing something, I had an order. And I had this rainbow in my mind. So for me not to forget about the rainbow, I created that. And this piece is just shells that I love. Being from the islands, I love shells. So so I just match the colors and
it's a piece that will go with a lot of
this is neutral. This will go with anything.
This one is.
And I came up with the earrings that goes with it. Well, the tube, I had the tube and I didn't know what to do with it, so I figured if I make an earring with that, it would be So this is what came out of that.
Okay.
Can you talk
What about
about
this
my
one?
piece?
Yeah,
What
this
is
is
a
the
Amalfi's piece.
Mm-hmm.
I saw those beads and I love them to death. I know I can come up with something, so I arranged them from large in the middle all the way out to small, and just add a couple pieces on the side for length, and that's how I came up with yours.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I just love the beads. This I got, believe it or not, in New Mexico. This piece, the pendant, and these.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't
That
a
just
lot.
reminds me of the turquoise water of the Caribbean. When I look at
Yeah.
this, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That
So
nice
with that,
turquoise
I
water.
tried to match the bead with the pendant,
Mm.
and that's how
And
I
you
came
did.
up with that
Yes.
piece. And pretty
Okay.
much this is the.
Well, thank
in
you
a
very much.
nutshell.
You are a treasure trove of talent. It really is.
Thank you.
So we hope in the future for you to bring us some of your fashion and your
Yes.
inspiration
Of course. Next time.
behind this fashion and support. So thank you very much. Now, we are coming to the end of this segment, this episode of Caribbean House Talk. And we look forward for you to join us on future episodes. Now, if you want us to read one of your stories to our Dear Help team, or you have ideas for our show, we need for you to write to us at qxnet@gmail.com. That's QUEXNET@gmail.com. QXnet@gmail.com. And if we find your story or your issues interesting, we will read them. Remember, the idea behind Caribbean House Talk is that we are everyday people with everyday ideas and issues like everybody else, and we hope that your audience would identify with us because we are working moms and grandmoms and just everyday people in your community. So please join us on the next edition of Caribbean House Talk. Thank you so much.